Hey, good morning everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report for Tuesday, October 3rd, 2017. I'm Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. You'll notice right here that price continues to hold near highs, has continued to hold above the 2480 key level. The pullback in the 2485 was as low as we got, and that led to the next push up. We talked about before, ever since this day, that if price were to push through and hold above 2480s, it could be a continuation into the next highest target, which is 2546. That's the next upside target. That's the 100% target from this impulse move. And we've never really come back to defend 2480. There was a shot here, but again, it fell short. Eventually, the squeeze is back on, and we're seeing more trending behavior. So overall, pullback still likely to be defended. We're still likely headed toward that 2546 until proven otherwise. So every pullback still remains a buying opportunity. Even a pullback in the 2504 could be a fantastic buy for another push into the next upside targets. Until then, got to be patient, and right now just kind of holding at highs in a fairly narrow range for the day so far. ES trading just 4 points of overnight range. That's 35% of average daily range over the last 10 days. Let's take a look at crude oil. Here's a look at crude. Basically, crude oil had the rejection day here. That was Thursday. We were looking for a pullback into 52.30 for a shot at selling and returning price to value, which is 48.91. That's composite VPOC. We haven't quite gotten a pullback that deep. And as a matter of fact, the previous session was a stop run day, ran 2-day stops and dropped, held near lows. Now it's still holding down at the lower edge of that range. Any bounce could be seen as a selling opportunity, especially into the previous lows here. So any bounce into those previous lows and a return of the FOMC key level at 1590, that could be a retest opportunity for another round of weakness. Today could just be a low range day after a big high range day the previous session, and then we'd be looking for a failed new high tomorrow, Wednesday. So price could come up here, reject that high, and that could be an opportunity to sell it here. So we're building out right now, still a downward bias. I say as long as price remains below 51.20, that's the 2-day lows, that any return into 51.20 could be a selling opportunity for a pushback to 48.91. So right now, that's what we're going with here. Short term, we're going to continue to watch this development here within this minor portion of the range, and then if there's any rejection up above, that could be a great selling opportunity down below. All right, let's take a look here at gold futures. Gold futures right now still in a downtrending price behavior. This one's very similar to crude in that I mentioned last week that if price were to bounce into 1300 or as high as 1302, that could be a selling opportunity for a return to value at 1253.60. And again, we haven't had much of a bounce. On Friday, there was a failed new high, and here's your 2-day flush. That's kind of par for the course. It's what we've been seeing every single time on a failed new high, 2-day flush, failed new high, 2-day flush. And so right now, we could be in the same type of situation with crude oil where it could be a digestion day for much of the day. Right now, only trading a very, very narrow range so far in the session. Not much of a range at all. 4.6 points, that's 30% of ADR. It's been averaging about 14.7 points on a 10-day basis. So right now, very tight, and it could continue to remain that way. And then tomorrow, there could be a test above the high that fails, and that could be a 2-day ride into 1253.60. So we could be looking at much more weakness here ahead. And again, the next bounce opportunity could be an opportunity to jump in at a better trade location for a return to value. So something to watch out for in gold and crude oil. Lastly, looking at the NQ here, the NQ is kind of sitting right back at 6,000. The high of the day is basically 59.95 half. So it's right there at 6K. It's had issues getting through 6K. It came within a half point or so before, and then from here it took another couple of months before it would retry the level. Once it hit it again, it couldn't really go through. It held, not really advancing. Had to go offered here and had to basically auction lower to entice bulls to come in, defend, and they did. But really, again, we're right back at it, not really showing a lot of juice through that level. So again, this is still a level up here that above it continues to see, an inability to push to new highs, and that usually leads to another rotation back down. I mentioned I don't know if we're going to see a pullback, but if we come back into this low or into these lows, those two zones right there could be phenomenal opportunities to buy it cheaper and then look to squeeze it into November and perhaps even December. So that could be something to watch out for here early in the month. Nothing really actionable at the moment here, but at least we got a couple of levels to watch down below, and we'll continue to see how price behaves around 6K. By the way, thank you all very much for joining me yesterday for our monthly market outlook. It was the first trading day of the new month of October. I was able to record that session and put it up on the site, so it has been uploaded. So take a look at pivotboss.com under news and you'll see the new link. All right, everyone, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Take care.